freedom. Lumumba's paper was not included. In January 1959, several months before the Ibadan seminar in Nigeria, Lopez Alvarez flew to Paris to attend the annual meeting of the Executive Committee of the Congress for Cultural Freedom in Paris. He used this opportunity to appeal to the Congress for help with a cherished dream to set up an Institute of Congolese Studies in Brazzaville to serve young men and women on both sides of the Congo River. It was a dream he shared with Lumumba, and it had been the subject of many animated discussions between the two men. The CCF was delighted with the proposal. With CIA intelligence goals in mind, the organization was keen to establish an influence in the French Congo. Moreover, the proposed cultural center was an ideal means to reach earnest and thoughtful young adults in the Belgian Congo, since it took less than an hour to cross the Congo River from Brazzaville to Leopoldville. Within weeks, the CCF provided some initial funding for the project, and the new institute was born. L'Institut d'études congolaises. That's French. Sorry, I don't know how to read French. Sorry. A monthly allocation was put in place, which was charged to the CIA passed through the Fairfield Foundation and to the Ford Foundation. Supplementary grants were made for the salaries of several employees and for the purchase of furniture, a mimeograph, a tape recorder, a film projector, and motor transport. An additional grant was provided by the Charles E. Merrill Trust, which was another pass-through set up by the CIA. The institute served as a center for local writers and artists, enabling them to meet at any time of the day and evening in the comfortable study hall and the library. A plan was put in place to publish and exhibit their work. The center had a station wagon to take the studies to their homes, since many of them would otherwise need to walk very long journeys. Courses were offered on the history and culture of the region, for which teachers were soon brought from other parts of Africa and the world. Scholarships were offered. The library was soon filled with books ordered in collaboration with the African Program of the Congress for Cultural Freedom. Records of African poetry and music were provided, as well as American jazz. Documentary films were shown. The center was an ideal way to showcase American culture to young adults and to introduce them to American values. At the same time, it provided opportunities for the agency to make contacts and foster relationships with promising individuals, some of whom would go on to be politicians. According to the official statutes of the Institute, its members condemned totalitarianism and attacks on freedom from wherever they came. It is unclear whether or not the Institute's members were asked to declare or sign such a condemnation. An inaugural ceremony was held on the 1st December 1959, to which the Senegalese poet Léopold Senghor was invited. He gave a speech in which he extolled the effort and achievements of the Institute. So, the African jazz, rather. As the months of 1959 wore on, it became clear to Lumumba and other Congolese nationalists that the Belgian government was in no rush to fulfill the promise it had made in January of an increase in local and district government. This was largely due to the political situation in Belgium. The Prime Minister led a weak coalition of Christian socialists and liberal parties, which were in disagreement over the pace of decolonization. The Minister of Congo, who was a liberal, took steps to advance measures of self-rule in the colony. But when these were impeded by other ministers and the king, he had no choice but to resign in September 1959. The new minister halted much of his predecessor's legislation. Frustrated, the Congolese resistance movement turned to Ghana for help. In late September 1959, a group associated with Kasavubu and the Abako Party went to Accra to mobilize public support for their cause. They presented a petition to the Foreign Ministry of Ghana, giving details of the brutalities perpetrated by the Belgians and calling on Nkrumah to use his good offices to share this information with the other independent African states, the Afro-Nation movement, and other world organizations sympathetic to their cause. It also called upon the United Nations to set up an international commission to investigate the events in Leopoldville of 4th January 1959. Ghana responded sympathetically and provided assistance. But overall, the Abako was no longer the primary focus of Ghana's support for the Congolese, as it had been before the All-African People's Conference. Since then, Ghana's support had shifted to the MNC, led by Patrice Lumumba. George Padmore established links in Paris, Brussels, and Congo Brazzaville, through which funds and political advice were secretly transmitted to Lumumba's MNC as and when necessary. But the movement National Congolese suffered from internal conflicts. By October 1959, the party had split into two. The MNC-L, under the leadership of Lumumba, and the MNC-K, led by the Kasai provincial leader, Albert Kalonji, a shallow, flamboyant, and unscrupulous man. Also joining the MNC-K were Adola and the ambitious but weak and ineffective Joseph Ileo. The friendship between Lumumba and Adola, which had been much in evidence at the Ibadan seminar earlier that year, was now contaminated by political infighting. During the turbulent year of 1959, Nkrumah later recorded, Patrice Lumumba maintained close and continuous contact with me. The young Congolese leader was deeply grateful that Nkrumah was willing to serve as his mentor. On the 9th of October 1959, he wrote to the Ghanaian Foreign Ministry, in quote, "May I please ask the Prime Minister to give me the necessary guide in respect of the plan to follow in our struggle?" He asked. His experience means a lot to us. He also asked for copies of Nkrumah's political speeches for publication in the Congo. Lumumba spoke openly and often in public, repeating the call for immediate independence. In Stanleyville, the capital of Oriental Province, his rallies were triumphant. One could feel that Lumumba had marched with his people, noted an Italian journalist. The journalist remembered seeing Lumumba's old father at one of the rallies. His face bore the marks of poverty, and he had the coarse hands of a man who had hunted for food with bow and arrow. Now these hands embraced the son, who was carried aloft by young people chanting, Uhuru, freedom, freedom, Uhuru, Uhuru, freedom, freedom, while they carry Lumumba. On the 23rd to 28th October 1959, the first National Congress of the MNCL was held in Stanleyville. On the final day of the Congress, Lumumba gave a speech to an audience of over 1,000 people, in which he drew attention to the military bases established by the Belgians at Kamina and at Kitona. Why all these bases? He asked. He then suggested the answer: to intimidate us, to intimidate you, to oppress you. What purpose do all these military bases serve in Africa? Blacks are peaceful men. Blacks are peaceful, loving men. Are peace-loving men. All these bases, all these arms that are here, that are aimed our way. Kamina military base in western Katanga, some 200 miles from Chinkolobwe, and 260 miles northwest of Elizabethville, had been built in 1952 by Belgium, supported by NATO funding. It was gigantic, encompassing an area equivalent to that of a Belgian province. It comprised twin bases, here and military, 7 miles apart, and with matching headquarters. The air wing had airports, they had transport airports capable of lifting troops and jeeps, fighter support, and a school for advanced pilots. The number of military personnel at Kamina was estimated in 1958 to be 10,000. Amenities included garden cities for the European personnel, housing suburbs for the Congolese workers, officers and non-commissioned officers' messes, with swimming pools and cultural amenities, and a well-equipped hospital. It was Chinkolobwe, observed an American journalist, that was Kamina's original raising the tar. According to an article in the New York Herald Tribune in 1955, the Kamina base had 2 global missions. One of these was to protect Belgium's rich uranium mines at Chinkolobwe and its rich copper deposit in the same general area. The other was to form a nucleus for the protection of the entire southern half of Africa, and probably extend that protection even further should another world war occur. The base was designed to survive a nuclear attack. In addition to Kamina in Katanga and the military base at Kitona near Leopoldville, there was a naval installation at Banana on the coast to control the mouth of the Congo River. No one needs to tell a military geographer, observed the New York Herald Tribune, how this will contribute to the control of all Africa, except the Nile Basin and the northern frontier. By October 1959, the Belgian administration had had enough of Lumumba. They had already been alarmed by his rhetoric and his meteoric rise in popularity. Now, they attributed the growing anger in Stanleyville not to the despair and frustration of the Congolese, but to Lumumba personally. On 30th October, 1959, at the end of a Congress of 5 nationalist parties, including the MNCL, which had just held its first national congress, soldiers of the Force Publique pushed in to arrest Lumumba. The crowd reacted to stop them with such energy that the police had to give up. 30 people were killed and more than 100 were wounded. Lumumba was accused of inciting a disturbance and a warrant for his arrest was issued. He was arrested on the 1st November and incarcerated in Stanleyville prison. His friend in Brazzaville, Luis Lopez Alvarez, arranged for a lawyer in Paris to come to Stanleyville to defend him. The rioting in Stanleyville continued and eventually spread to Leopoldville in November and December 1959. In December, a letter from Lopez Alvarez reached Lumumba in prison. In his reply, Lumumba expressed his fond affection for his friend and his pleasure at seeing his statutes of the Institut d'Etudes Congolaises, which had been delivered to him. I expressed my most fervent hope for the best success of this magnificent project, he told Lopez Alvarez. My commitment continues to be whole, complete, and total. Unwittingly, Lumumba was declaring his enthusiastic support for a project financed by the CIA unknowingly. Lumumba continued his letter with a clear statement of commitment to the goal of independence through nonviolent and peaceful means. Dearest Louis, he ended, my thoughts are flying to you through the walls of my cell, and with the same love that has always united us, I embrace you fraternally. Lumumba, Patrice. This is at the end of the chapter 8. And from my check-in, I think I've almost exhausted my 1 hour. Yes, I've only spent about 50 minutes, almost 45 minutes to read the chapter. Indeed. But again, let's digest that and let's have a chat around that. So the line is going to be opened. For those of you who are still watching, you can now react to all you have heard so far, including the return of subsidy. So don't go anywhere. I am going to give myself just a minute break, and then we will take calls. The number to call is on your screen. All right? Use that. You know. So thank you so much, and I will be back. Okay?
I built this country, I employed 13,800 workers. People employ nobody. And nobody asks them their source of wealth. I have 3 factories in Lagos, Nigeria. I have 2 factories in Ota, build manufacturing. I have 3 factories in Aba, manufacturing. And I'm a thief. And people that cannot explain where their source of wealth comes from, they are not thieves. I leave everything in the hands of God. May God be the judge.
Thank you very much, Chief Whip.
That's right. Thank you so much, everyone, for that. And the line is opened. And I do have a caller, by the way. Okay. But remember, please take a moment and still like the broadcast. You need to like that and share it. It's quite important. So thank you. Here is my first caller this morning or afternoon. Hello there.
Hello there. Good morning, my good general.
Good morning to you. How are you?
Good. This is Jude speaking from New York City.
Did you say AGK?
Jude. Jude.
Did you say Jude?
Jude?
Oh, it's Jude. Sorry.
Yeah.
It should be Jude,
Jude.
right? I'm so sorry. Sometimes, this is far from me. I might actually have to put my headset on again now. So, Jude, how are you this morning?
I'm great. I'm actually the first time caller, but I do listen to you every minute of my existence.
God bless you, man. God bless you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. I like your program, and man, I've been talking with you. Now I got you all of a sudden. I just said, let me dial my ego and see what's going on.
It's gonna get through. I know. I mean, I keep telling people that all it takes is just to dial the number. You might be trying to get through, and sometimes it's so busy, and you are unable to get through. But still, the only solution of getting through is still to dial the number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'm grateful for what you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
Do so much. I'm grateful for your job. You're doing a very, very good job by sensitizing our people. Our people is so difficult to sensitize, but for the fact that you keep it up and keep it up, notwithstanding the pressure, I so much love that. I don't know what to say again, but I will just say thank you for your good work. I expected to say a lot of things, but speaking this call, everything went off from my head. So
I can imagine.
Take care of yourself.
The only thing that didn't go off is that at least I got him, and I could say thank you to him on the phone, apart from the comment side. So thank you, Jude. Okay. Well, you should
thank
keep
you
calling,
so much. I appreciate it.
So that you can pick on something that you want to say, and you just go for it. Baba.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good job. Good job.
Enjoy your morning, okay? Thank you so much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that said Jude, the first-time caller, that finally got through today. So thank you so much, everyone who is also trying to get through.
Hello?
You too should try. Hello.
Now, wow. Now, so it didn't happen today.
It don't happen.
Wow, so happy.
I said it now. The only solution of getting through is to just try and dial that number. You're meant to give up dialing.
Yes.
As you giving up having a chance. How are you, Baba?
Yes. I do. Now, if I'm from Gabon, you don't think. I try all the time, but it doesn't.
I know the past. It can be meant to, And also, by the way, calling in the afternoon is easier, if you ask me.
Yes.
Not that busy.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, but there are some afternoons that I'm okay. There are some afternoons that I call, nothing. That's why today I was really surprised that the same passed through. Thank you for picking my call. Even you don't.
Thank you, man.
Forgotten some of the things. Okay. Let me remember her. For example, when you are saying Stanley Ville, it's not Stanley Ville, it's Stanley Ville.
Oh, it's
Ville means town.
You see, I'm not good in French. I was struggling to. But thank you.
Yeah. Stanley Ville. So Ville means town. So when you are Stanley Town. Right? Huh? Yes, Libreville. Yes, it's Leopoldville, which means Leopold Town.
Okay. So
that is why you pronounce Brazzaville exactly how it's supposed to be.
Brazzaville.
That one I give you kudos now.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's Ville. Ville means town.
Means town. It's like a short for town. Right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
My hand. That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna get better now. Thank you.
So the issue of what is it called again? They say Nigeria this or Nigeria that. Me, I'm telling people here that Nigeria, that Facebook account, it says this animal is already dead, but it just does not know it yet. This is exactly the situation Nigeria is. Nigeria is dead, but just that Nigeria do not know. Nigerians do not know it yet. They don't know that the country is dead already.
Or they are finding it difficult.
They don't know.
It's like they don't want to accept that.
They don't.
They don't know.
It might be that they don't want to accept it that the country is already dead, because at the end of the day, you're right. You're right. This is a good angle. So
because I have seen people who tell you normal say this country no normal. Okay.
Yes.
But when you tell them that this country, this Nigeria that you think is dead. This one is just a caricature of it. They don't want to accept that, to say, okay, we know that
they don't want to accept it.
Is no, they don't make sense. But it's not dead. It's not dead in Jesus' name. Those are people who are living in denial. You know now, they say, no, it's not dead in Jesus' name. But you lie to yourself.
Yes, exactly. So money makes the world go round. As Nigeria is now, there is no longer any money coming in, or very little money is coming in. So they are now resorting to printing money or borrowing, or even taking money from the what's it called, foreign reserve and all that. But all those things is just let's say somebody who is hungry.
That it's still not dead. That be okay. We'll see.
That is it. All these foreign countries that are running away and the ones when agree that refuse to come and give their money, they saw something. That is why they're not coming. Just as you said, even if Naleg where the Siemens where they do that what's it called deal in Germany. By now, even if Naleg, they're supposed to Nigeria.
Eh?
No, what people do recently.